this could turn into a long story, so I'll make it short. But out of the showcase, there were two different agencies that I had met with, or I met with a few, and then it came down to two that I was deciding between. And one of the agencies really was excited about me and wanted to sign me right away. And then the other agency, they were more so like, let's freelance and kind of try this out, and then we might sign you eventually, just to kind of get a better idea of how we would work together. And so at first I was like, oh gosh, like I should definitely go with this agency that wants me, that's like excited about me and ready for it. And but for whatever reason, like my gut was like, don't go that direction. And let me tell you, I'm like the kind of person that loves getting advice from other people. So like I talked to so many people I respected in the industry, and every single person was like, go with the agency that is excited about you and wants you now, that's ready to sign. And so it was so scary to be like, oh, but my gut is like, don't do that. And I decided to take the risk of, going the route of freelancing and not signing right away, which was a little scary because it was like, are these people actually interested? Are they going to sign me eventually? Who knows? But I decided to go that route. And, my first couple auditions in New York ended up going really well, which is shocking, because auditioning in New York is absolutely crazy, as I'm sure you know, and anyone could guess. And I ended up getting some callbacks for Broadway shows, and ended up being in final callbacks for Broadway shows, and which was still to this day, I'm like, what in the world? And I ended up getting a call that was from this agency I was freelancing with, for a final callback of the musical Sideshow, which was, they were creating a revival for Broadway. And they were like, hey, you have a final callback, which is so crazy, even rethinking this. And they're like, also, we would love to sign you. And so it was kind of this perfect storm of, being prepared when moving to New York to like really put myself out there at these auditions. And then, having the luck and also just being in the right place at the right time, that these creative teams really liked me. And although I didn't end up booking any of those shows, it did land me an awesome agency. And that I'm so grateful, like looking back, being like, you know what? I don't know if I would have been like mentally, physically, emotionally prepared to be in a Broadway show that, first week of living in New York. But that time, I know for a fact was like, oh, this was supposed to happen this way, because it made this relationship with my agency so strong, because they were able to trust me right off the bat, that they were like, oh, this girl's serious and she's ready to do this. And people are seeing that in her. And so I was able to sign with them shortly after moving here. And it was such a blessing on so many levels. And just my heart was like, like Broadway dreams. Like, what in the heck?
My gosh, Broadway, Becca. There's so much that could be broken down in just this little bit, because this idea of intuition and listening to your gut and taking the risk. And what I think is so interesting about that is, okay, so we've got 4 years of a college degree, which yes, prepares you for New York, and no, doesn't prepare you for New York.
Right, exactly.
You've got summer stock, you've got all these connections, and you've got, you talked about community, which over and over again, that's what we talk about. We come back to the connections, we come back to the community and how important that is, and how important the people around us are, and how they can up-level our lives if we get in that right community. Totally. And you talk about this intuition and taking the risk, which in no way were you ready, I'm air quoting that, ready for, and you did it anyway. And look what happens on the other side of that. I mean, that's the magic.
It really is. Man, listening to your heart, listening to your gut is so powerful, I think, and being in tune in that way. And then also, like you said, taking the risk can be so scary, and putting yourself out there, stepping out of your comfort zone is terrifying in so many ways. But when we do that, we often get such great rewards. And if not, then it's just a really great learning experience to take with you onto the next.